Hey, before we begin, I want you to know something. If you've been losing interest in things lately, things you used to enjoy, things that once felt easy or exciting, things that used to give you a spark, you're not alone, and you're not broken. You're not lazy. You're not failing at life. You're not falling behind. You're not giving up. What you're experiencing has real, understandable reasons behind it. Biological, psychological, emotional, and even environmental. And I'm gonna sit with you through all of it. Just you and me. No crowd. No audience. No big speech. Just a conversation. Let's open this file together. Why you lose interest in everything sometimes. And more importantly, what that loss of interest actually means. Let's go slow. We have time. A's Part 1. Let's start with something honest. You know those days where you wake up and the world just feels muted? Nothing feels exciting. Nothing feels important. Foods taste bland. Music feels flat. Conversations feel empty. Your hobbies feel like chores. Your goals feel distant. Even getting out of bed feels like a negotiation. Sometimes it's not even sadness. It's just nothingness. A heavy, gray, neutral kind of nothing. And the hardest part is maybe you can't even explain why. There's no single event. No clear reason. No big heartbreak. Just a slow fading of interest. If that sounds like you, you're human. Deeply human. Because losing interest isn't random. It's a message. It's your mind and body trying to get your attention. So let's decode it. Part 2. Dopamine. The brain's motivation chemical. Let's talk about dopamine. But simply, dopamine is your brain's fuel for wanting, pursuing, caring, engaging, planning, enjoying, focusing. People think dopamine is the pleasure chemical, but it's not. It's actually the motivation chemical. It pushes you to get up and move towards something. When your dopamine levels drop, the world doesn't feel exciting. Even if nothing is wrong with the world, it just feels flat, because the chemical system that creates enthusiasm is low. So what causes dopamine depletion? A few major things. 1. Chronic stress. If your brain feels overwhelmed or unsafe, it reduces dopamine to conserve energy. 2. Constant exposure to high stimulation activities. Scrolling, gaming, fast gratification, constant notifications. They spike dopamine quickly but crash it later. 3. Emotional exhaustion. If your brain is emotionally drained, dopamine circuits slow down. 4. Lack of novelty or routine monotony. Same tasks every day can flatten dopamine pathways. 5. Sleep issues. Poor sleep wrecks dopamine. 6. Burnout. Dopamine is one of the first systems to collapse in burnout. Here's the important part. When dopamine drops, you won't feel motivated, even for things you normally enjoy. It's not a moral problem. It's not a personality flaw. It's chemistry. And chemistry can be rebuilt. We'll get there, but let's go deeper first. Part 3. Emotional exhaustion. The human battery problem. You've heard the term burnout, but emotional exhaustion is something slightly different. Burnout is when your performance collapses. Emotional exhaustion is when your spark collapses. It feels like you're tired even after resting. Small tasks drain you. Conversations feel heavy. You avoid things you used to enjoy. You feel checked out emotionally. Everything feels like effort. You want to be alone more often. You don't have the emotional energy to care. Emotional exhaustion comes from being overloaded for too long. Too many responsibilities. Too many decisions. Too many expectations. Too much pressure. Too many people to please. Too much emotional labor. Too much thinking. Too much noise. Too little rest. Too little support. Too little joy. Some people hit emotional exhaustion slowly, quietly. It creeps up. You don't even notice you're low until suddenly everything feels heavy. But here's something you need to hear. If your mind is emotionally exhausted, of course you lose interest. It's like trying to run a marathon with no fuel. Your system is telling you, I don't have the capacity for this right now. It's protective, not destructive. Part 4. Meaning deficit. The silent cause. No one talks about this. One is deep, and I want you to pay attention. Meaning is the feeling that your life has direction. Your actions matter. You're moving towards something that matters. You understand why you're doing what you're doing. When you lose meaning, you lose passion. You lose purpose. You lose your spark. And when meaning drops, interest drops with it. This isn't philosophical. It's scientific. Your brain needs a why to generate dopamine. No meaning equals sign, no motivation. No motivation equals sign, no interest. Meaning deficit can come from monotony, repeated routine, having no goals you care about, losing something important, feeling stuck, feeling disconnected, feeling like your efforts don't matter, doing every day what doesn't align with who you are. It happens to adults. It happens to students. It happens to parents. It happens to highly successful people too. Meaning deficit makes life feel like a loop. A long, dull, repeating loop. And your brain responds by withdrawing interest. Not out of rebellion, but out of emptiness. Part 5. Trauma or emotional overload. You never processed. We need to talk about something many people avoid. Sometimes you lose interest because you've been carrying too much. Something hurt you, or scared you, or overwhelmed you, and instead of dealing with it, you kept moving. Life forced you to function when your heart wasn't ready, and your brain did what it always does to protect you. It shut down the high-energy systems. When the brain is processing too much pain or confusion, it turns off anything that isn't essential. Dopamine drops, motivation drops, interest drops. Your system goes into emotional conservation mode. This isn't weakness. This is survival. Part 6. The pressure to be on all the time. Modern life expects you to constantly work, to study, update, improve, reply, respond, socialize, perform, fix, succeed, plan, smile, be okay. And if you're not doing those things, you feel guilty. You feel behind. You feel like there's something wrong with you. But humans were not designed to be productive machines. We were designed to rest, connect, breathe, feel, explore, experience, play, recover. Losing interest might be your brain saying, "You're asking too much from me." And the scariest part is we often judge ourselves for something that is simply a human need for rest. Part 7. The meaninglessness of hyperstimulation. Let's talk about overstimulation in a simple way. Your brain was designed for slow, meaningful experiences. Conversations, nature, stories, people, quiet moments, but now your brain experiences fast scrolling, constant switching, dozens of apps, short bursts of content, notifications, comparison, noise, artificial dopamine spikes. Your brain adapts by raising the threshold for interest. In other words, normal things feel boring. Small joys feel flat. Old hobbies don't hit the same. Life feels muted. Not because life is dull, because your brain is tired. Your receptors are tired. Your emotions are tired. Your nervous system is tired. You didn't lose interest. Your system simply got overloaded. Thumma cold meeking where feel seeing waganahalf. Part 8. When you lose yourself, you lose interest. This one is personal. Losing interest is often a sign you've drifted away from yourself. Maybe you've spent too long pleasing others. Maybe you've been trying to meet expectations that aren't yours. Maybe you've been comparing your life to everyone else's. Maybe you've forgotten what makes you feel alive. Maybe you've stopped asking yourself what you actually want. When you disconnect from yourself, your mind loses direction. When your mind loses direction, your motivation disappears. When your motivation disappears, interest collapses. This is reversible. But you have to reconnect with who you are, not who others want you to be. Part 9. How to rebuild interest. Slowly, gently, realistically. I'm not going to tell you to drink more water, sleep earlier, or try a new hobby. That advice is shallow for something this deep. Instead, let's rebuild interest from the root. Here's what actually works. 1. Do things badly. Perfection kills interest. Give yourself permission to do things imperfectly. Interest returns when pressure leaves. 2. Do tiny versions of things, not full versions. Instead of, read a book, try, read 1 page. Instead of, go to the gym, try, stretch for 2 minutes. Instead of, clean your room, try, organize 1 small corner. Small actions bring back momentum. 3. Stop forcing yourself to feel interested. Interest doesn't return through pressure. It returns through curiosity. Ask yourself, what's 1 small thing I'm curious about today? Curiosity is the seed of interest. 4. Add novelty back into your life. New music, new walking route, new cafe, new task, new environment. The brain wakes up when something feels new. 5. Reduce overstimulation. Shorten screen time. Take micro breaks. Spend time in silence. Sit outside for 5 minutes. Slow down your inputs. Your brain needs to feel the world again. 6. Reconnect with the things that made you feel alive before, but do it gently, not as a task, as an experiment. 7. Lower the volume of your expectations. You don't need passion today. You just need willingness. Interest returns in whispers, not fireworks. Part 10. Emotional reassurance. You need this. Let me talk to you directly now. If you've lost interest in everything, it doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're tired, or overwhelmed, or disconnected, or running on empty, or carrying too much, or emotionally overloaded, or bored of your routine, or mentally overstimulated, or simply growing, and your old interests no longer fit you. It's not a failure. It's a phase. It's a signal. It's a human experience, and it can be healed. Your spark is not gone. It's resting. Your interest is not dead. It's waiting. Your curiosity is not lost. It's underneath the exhaustion. You will feel excited again. You will care again. You will feel something again. You will rediscover joy again. Not by force, not by pressure, but by understanding yourself, by giving yourself space, by letting your mind recover, by reconnecting with what matters, and by remembering that losing interest is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of a new one, and you're not going through it alone. This is your file today, from Body Logic Files. When you're ready, we'll open the next one together.